Hi, I'm Amanda. I'm a behavioral scientist. I'm also a professor of leadership at Holt International Business School. That means that I write and teach courses in leadership and other business skills for adults around the world. In this unit, we're going to focus on how to achieve goals and be successful. Everyone wants to be successful. Perhaps you want to be successful at your job, at saving money, or at having good friends. Each person has their own vision of what a successful life looks like. Many people, however, don't know how to make their dreams of success come true. In this unit, you will develop the skills to set goals for your success and then make a plan to achieve them. A goal is something that you want to achieve. You might have a goal, such as buying a bicycle, sending money to your family, or taking care of an elderly parent. Studies show that people who have a defined, specific, and actually moderately difficult goal achieve more than people who just kind of try to do their best. So let's recap that idea. A goal is a definition of something that you want to achieve. People who set goals that are defined, specific, and moderately difficult are more likely to be successful than people who just try hard. Let's take an example. Perhaps you want to make sure that there is plenty of food for your family next month. Your goal might be to make sure that there is plenty of food to eat. Now, we know that we can make the goal stronger by making it specific. For example, I can make that goal more specific by saying, my goal is to start the month by purchasing enough food so there is plenty to eat for all my family members across the whole month. Achieving this goal is not easy, but it is possible. Studies show that people who make a plan to achieve their goals are more successful than people who don't have a plan or who just try to use willpower. So let's recap what we've learned so far. A goal is a definition of something that you want to achieve. People who set goals that are defined, specific, and moderately difficult are more likely to be successful than people who just try hard. You are more likely to achieve your goal if you make a plan to help you achieve it. A plan should include steps, actions, and dates. So let's have a look at an example. My goal is to start the month by purchasing enough food so that there's plenty to eat for all my family members for the whole month. To create a plan, I need to define steps, actions, and dates. For example, my first step is to buy enough supplies for the whole month. When should I do that? Well, the ideal date is the day when my salary is paid. In order to make this action step even more specific, it can be valuable to define your shopping list. For example, a 50-kilo bag of maize, 2 2-kilo bags of sugar, 3 5-kilo bags of beans, 2 bottles of cooking oil, 2 boxes of tea, and 4 kilos of potatoes. The next step is to measure how much of your supplies you have used as the month progresses. A good day to do that is at the end of each week. To make this action even more specific, what you should be checking is whether or not you are using 1/4 of your supplies for every week in the month, or are you eating more or less than that? Finally, we need to commit to the plan in a way that will allow us to avoid temptations or distractions. A commitment device is a technique that helps people to lock themselves into doing the thing they want to do even when they are facing temptations. So now we're going to add a commitment device to both of these action steps. Your first action step was to buy enough supplies for the whole month on the day that your salary is paid. How can you help yourself commit? Well, one opportunity is to ask my child or family member to walk with me to buy these supplies for the month. Another option is to walk a different route so that I do not pass things that tempt me. Or perhaps you might want to do both of these. The second step is to measure how much of our supplies we have used at the end of each week. You could help yourself to commit to that action by asking family members to work with you to plan your meals for the week ahead. Now let's do an exercise to practice. In this exercise, you will practice each of the 3 elements: a goal, an action plan, and a commitment device. This section is for trainers only. The objective of this exercise is for participants to practice defining one personal goal, one action plan, and one commitment device. You can run the exercise in different ways. Choose what suits you best. This exercise involves several steps. First of all, the participants need to define a goal and be as specific as possible. Secondly, they need to define actions and dates that lead to that goal. Thirdly, they should discuss the temptations and distractions that could be obstacles to taking those actions. And finally, identify a commitment device that can help them overcome those temptations. You can print the template provided on the next slide and give it to each learner, or else you could replicate it on the whiteboard and run the exercise as a total group discussion. Here's the template for this exercise. And here are some further options. A good starting exercise is to focus on a short-term goal, such as something that can be achieved in the next month. You might choose to focus on spending goals for the next month, as per the example in the lesson itself. This will build directly on lesson 1 also, which was all about distinguishing between needs and wants. However, you might choose to focus on other types of goals: health goals, relationships, friendships, family care. You can decide what is most appropriate for your group. As an additional option, you might choose to use this chart to discuss with participants the extent to which they feel they can now do each of the 4 steps involved in setting goals and being successful. Remember, when you change a goal, you change your behavior. In case you'd like to read more, here's the bibliography.